You helped a human. Congratulations. That means Earth just went to war for you. The station floated at the edge of known space, old and quiet, built long before the current empires had drawn their borders. Its metal skin was scratched by time, and its lights flickered in slow rhythms. Traders came here only when they had no better choice. It was the kind of place the galaxy forgot. That was why the human had survived. The human ship came out of nowhere, dropping from faster-than-light travel in a broken spiral. Alarms screamed inside the station as the ship slammed into the outer docking ring, scraping metal and tearing cables loose. The impact shook the entire structure. Most stations would have sealed the bay and sent a distress signal to the nearest authority. Humans were trouble. Everyone knew that. They were unpredictable, stubborn, and famous for dragging others into their problems. Station Master Keth Varin did not do that. Keth stood frozen for a moment, watching the cracked viewscreen show the small, ruined ship leaking air and sparks. The hull markings were unfamiliar to many species, but Keth recognized them at once. Earth-built. Human. Several dockworkers backed away in fear. "A human," one whispered. "We should report this." Keth's long fingers tightened around the edge of the console. He had heard the stories like everyone else. Humans were weak alone, but dangerous when pushed. Empires mocked them, but none fully trusted them. Helping one was considered foolish, but the ship was dying, and so was the pilot inside. "Open the bay," Keth said. The dockworkers stared at him. "That is a human vessel," another worker said carefully. "If we interfere, others may." "I said open the bay," Keth repeated, his voice calm but firm. Reluctantly, the bay doors opened. Emergency fields caught the broken ship before it drifted away. Keth led the response team himself, moving through the narrow corridors toward the dock. Inside the human ship, they found a single pilot. The human was smaller than most soldiers Keth had seen, wrapped in a torn flight suit, dark hair matted with blood. The pilot's breathing was shallow, uneven. One arm was twisted at an unnatural angle. "He is still alive," a medic said in surprise. Keth felt a strange pull in his chest. Against all reason, he ordered them to bring the human to the medical wing. The next hours passed in tense silence. Keth sat outside the med bay while doctors worked. He knew what he had done. Helping a human was not illegal, but it was unwise. The station existed under loose protection agreements with nearby powers, and none of them wanted trouble with Earth or with those who hunted humans. Messages began arriving almost immediately. "Unidentified human vessel detected in your bay," read one transmission. "State your intentions." Another was less polite. "Station Master, releasing the human would be wise. Keeping it will invite consequences." Keth ignored them all. When the human finally stabilized, the medic approached him. "The pilot will live," the medic said, "but recovery will take time." Keth nodded. "Keep this quiet." That proved impossible. News traveled fast in border space. By the next cycle, ships lingered near the station, pretending to trade while scanning every signal. Keth overheard whispers in the market halls. "They say the station master is hiding a human. Is he mad? Humans bring war." Keth walked through it all without responding. Days later, the human woke. Keth entered the med bay alone. The human lay still, eyes open, watching him carefully. Despite the injuries, there was no fear in the human's gaze, only focus. "You are safe," Keth said slowly, using a translator. "Your ship was damaged." "We helped you," the human swallowed. "Why?" Keth hesitated. No one had ever asked him that so directly. "Because you were dying," he said. The human studied him for a long moment, then nodded once. "Thank you." The words were simple, but they carried weight. Over the next days, the human recovered faster than expected. The doctors were impressed. Humans healed quickly, driven by stubborn will more than biology. Keth learned the human's name was Aaron Hale, a scout pilot. His mission details were vague, but Keth did not press. Privacy mattered. What worried Keth more was what Aaron worked on whenever he was left alone. The human asked for access to scrap parts, wiring, and power cells. He spent hours assembling something small and compact near his bed. "What is that?" Keth asked one evening. Aaron glanced up. "A beacon." "For rescue?" Aaron shook his head. "For acknowledgement." Keth did not understand, but something about the human's calm tone made him uneasy. Warnings continued to arrive. A regional patrol captain contacted Keth directly. "You are sheltering a human," the captain said. "That pilot belongs to a species that draws conflict. Hand him over. We will be lenient." Keth straightened. "The pilot is under my care. He will leave when healed." The captain's eyes narrowed. "You do not know what you risk." Keth did, but he also remembered the human's quiet thank you. When Aaron was finally able to walk, he approached Keth privately. "My ship won't fly," Aaron said, "but I can leave another way. There's a merchant convoy passing soon." "You could stay longer," Keth said. Aaron smiled faintly. "Staying would be worse for you." He handed Keth a small data chip. "What is this?" "A record," Aaron said. "Of what you did." Keth frowned. "I do not need a reward." Aaron met his gaze. "This isn't a reward, it's a promise." That same night, Aaron finished the beacon. He asked for a moment alone in the outer comms array. Keth granted it, though his instincts screamed at him to stop this. The beacon activated with a soft hum. It did not broadcast loudly. It whispered across space, encoded and precise. Aaron shut it down minutes later. "That's it," he said. Keth felt a chill. "Who did you contact?" Aaron looked out at the stars. "Home." The merchant convoy arrived at dawn cycle. Aaron boarded quietly, blending in among cargo crates. Before leaving, he turned to Keth one last time. "People think humans bring war," Aaron said. "That's not true." Keth said nothing. "We bring loyalty," Aaron continued. "And we never forget who stood with us." The convoy departed. For a moment, the station returned to normal. Then the sensors changed. Long-range scanners lit up with signals, dozens, then hundreds. Ships emerging from hyperspace far beyond normal trade routes. They were not attacking. They were watching. Old alien archives across the region unlocked files that had not been accessed in centuries. Strategic movement patterns, historical data, Earth's early conflicts, diplomatic channels flooded with messages, human fleets detected, Earth vessels crossing neutral space. "They're moving fast." Keth stood on the command deck, staring at the stars as unfamiliar ship signatures appeared one by one. A junior officer whispered, "Station Master, what did you do?" Keth remembered the bleeding pilot, the quiet gratitude, the simple choice. "I helped someone," Keth said. A massive signal cut through all others, calm and clear, carrying a human emblem recognized across the galaxy. It did not sound angry. It sounded alert. The message repeated on every channel, "This is Earth Command. We have received confirmation of aid given to a human citizen." The station fell silent. Keth's breath caught as the final line arrived. "To those who offered help, stand by. You are not alone." And somewhere far away, the first human war fleets adjusted their course, not toward conquest but toward protection. The first human ships did not arrive like a storm. They arrived like a shadow. Station Master Keth Varan stood on the command deck as the sensors updated again and again. Each update showed the same thing, new human vessels appearing at long distance, never too close, never threatening. They held position in silent lines, spaced with careful precision. No weapons charged, no warnings issued. That calm frightened the galaxy more than any attack. Around the station, traffic slowed. Traders delayed departure. Some docked ships powered down, hoping to appear unimportant. Others fled at maximum speed, unwilling to be near a place that now carried human attention. Keth felt the weight of every decision he had made press down on him. Messages flooded the communication array. Some were polite. "Earth vessels, please clarify your intentions." Some were fearful. "Station Master, we advise immediate evacuation." Some were angry. "You have endangered neutral space." Keth did not answer any of them. Instead, a new channel opened on the main screen. A human face appeared, not armored, not shouting, not threatening. The woman wore a simple uniform, her expression serious but controlled. "This is Envoy Mara Chen of Earth," she said. "Station Master Keth Varan, do you acknowledge?" Keth straightened. "I acknowledge." "Thank you," Chen replied. "We are here because one of our citizens was aided at your station. This communication is not a demand, it is a confirmation." "Of what?" Keth asked. "That your station is now under Earth's diplomatic protection." The room went completely silent. Keth felt his breath catch. "I did not request." "We know," Chen said gently. "Protection is not requested, it is given." Before Keth could respond, another signal forced its way into the channel. A massive alien warship filled the screen, its hull marked with aggressive symbols. The warlord who commanded it was known across the region for crushing smaller stations and forcing tribute. "You overstep," the warlord growled. "This station exists within my influence." Chen turned her head slightly, as if acknowledging background noise. "That influence is now suspended," the warlord laughed. "You are far from your home, human." Chen did not raise her voice. "Distance has never protected cruelty." The warlord cut the channel. Keth turned to his officers. "Shields up," he ordered quietly. Across the system, the warlord's fleet began to move. The galaxy waited for Earth to strike first. Earth did not. Instead, something strange began to happen. Supply routes feeding the warlord's fleet started failing. Fuel shipments were delayed. Communication relays went dark one by one. Navigation markers began broadcasting incorrect data, forcing ships to slow down or stop entirely. None of it could be traced directly to human action, but everyone knew. Keth watched reports scroll past his screen, each one more unsettling than the last. "They're isolating him," one officer whispered. "Yes," Keth replied, without firing a shot. On the station, human engineers arrived next, not soldiers, not weapons. They worked beside Keth's crew, reinforcing shields, upgrading sensors, fixing systems the station had long stopped repairing. They spoke politely. They asked permission. They treated the station as an ally, not a tool. One of them paused near Keth. "You did the right thing," the engineer said. Keth did not feel brave. He felt small. Meanwhile, across the region, alien governments panicked. Emergency councils formed. Old treaties were reviewed. Long-buried historical files resurfaced, especially one labeled simply, "Human Conflict Patterns." The records were unsettling. Humans did not rush. Humans did not boast. Humans prepared quietly, then acted with overwhelming certainty. The warlord tried to rally support. He sent messages demanding loyalty. Few answered. Some ships withdrew entirely, unwilling to stand between Earth and its promise. Others stayed, but fear crept through their ranks. At the station, Keth received a private message. It was from Aaron Hale. The human scout appeared older now, eyes sharper. "You should leave," Keth said immediately. "This is becoming dangerous." Aaron shook his head. "It was dangerous the moment you opened that hangar. Then why come back?" "Because you stood alone," Aaron replied. "Humans don't forget that," Keth swallowed. "Will there be war?" Aaron was quiet for a moment. "That depends on him." As if summoned by the words, the warlord's fleet jumped into closer range. Weapons charged. This time Earth responded. Human ships moved not forward but outward, surrounding key systems with perfect coordination. Each move cut another escape route, another supply line, another option. Envoy Chen reappeared on all channels. "This is Earth," she said calmly. "We have no interest in conquest. We will not claim territory, but harm to those under our protection will be answered." The warlord snarled. "You protect weakness." Chen met his gaze. "We protect loyalty." Behind her, data projections appeared, every illegal raid, every broken treaty, every station destroyed by the warlord's fleet. Compiled, verified, shared with the entire region. "You will stand down," Chen said, "or you will stand alone." The warlord hesitated. For the first time, Keth saw fear flicker across the warlord's face. His allies had already begun withdrawing. Silence stretched across space. Then the warlord spoke, voice tight. "This is not over." "No," Chen agreed. "It's decided." The warlord's fleet powered down its weapons. Cheers broke out across the station, but Keth did not celebrate. He watched the stars, understanding now what his choice had set in motion. Later, Chen contacted him privately. "You changed things," she said. "I only help someone in need," Keth replied. Chen smiled slightly. That's how most human wars begin, not with anger but with someone choosing to care. Keth thought of the bleeding pilot, the quiet thanks, the beacon. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now," Chen said, "the galaxy learns something important." "And that is," Chen's voice was steady, "that helping a human does not bring destruction, it brings a shield." As the human fleets held position, smaller species began sending messages, not of fear but of curiosity, of hope. For the first time in a long while, the station was no longer forgotten. It was watched, protected, and the galaxy was starting to understand that Earth had not come looking for a fight. It had come to stand by a promise. The calm did not last. Across the region, silence spread like a held breath. Human fleets stayed in position, unmoving, watching. The warlord's ships powered down their weapons, but they did not leave. They waited, trapped between fear and pride. Station Master Keth Varin felt it in his bones. This was not the end. This was the pause before a final choice. Inside the station, daily life tried to continue. Markets opened, repairs continued, but everyone spoke in low voices. Every screen showed the same distant human ships, steady and patient. Keth stood with his senior officers on the command deck. "No sudden movements," he reminded them. "We stay calm." A sensor officer looked up. "Station Master, encrypted transmissions detected." "From where?" "Everywhere," the officer replied. "Multiple systems, old military frequencies, human." Keth felt a chill. "They're coordinating." Far away, Earth Command activated the next phase. Human ships began moving not toward the warlord but around him. They spread across nearby systems with perfect timing, each ship taking a precise position. Trade lanes closed quietly. Jump points became monitored zones. Nothing explosive, nothing dramatic, just control. The warlord noticed too late. On his flagship, alarms sounded, not for weapons fire but for missing data. Supply ships failed to arrive. Repair crews reported shortages. Even basic communication with his outer patrols became unreliable. He slammed his fist into the command throne. "Find the source." "There is no single source," his strategist replied, voice shaking. "It's everywhere. Humans anticipated our structure." The warlord snarled. "They didn't fight us. They studied us," the strategist whispered. At the station, Aaron Hale stood beside Keth, watching the star map shift. "They're boxing him in," Keth said. Aaron nodded. "Humans don't rush predators. We wait until they realize there's nowhere left to go." Keth looked at him. "You planned this?" "No," Aaron said honestly. "We planned for the possibility." That answer frightened Keth more than any threat. Across the region, alien governments reacted fast. Some publicly supported Earth's stance. Others remained silent, hoping not to be noticed. A few quietly opened diplomatic channels with Earth, offering information in exchange for neutrality. The balance of power was changing. Then the warlord made his mistake. A small patrol under his command ignored orders and attacked a minor relay station protected by Earth's warning zone. No lives were lost, but the message was clear: defiance. Earth responded instantly, not with an attack, with truth. Envoy Mara Chen appeared on every major channel, her voice calm but firm. "This relay station was protected under Earth's declaration," she said. "The attack has been recorded." Behind her, evidence streamed, sensor logs, command orders, timestamps. "We warned you," Chen continued. "Now we respond." Human ships moved again. This time the change was impossible to ignore. Key systems under the warlord's control experienced total shutdowns. Not explosions, not destruction, power loss. Shipyards went dark. Defense platforms lost targeting systems. Automated factories stopped mid-cycle. The warlord's empire did not burn, it stalled. Panic spread through his fleet. "They've disabled us," an officer shouted. Without firing, on the station, Keth watched in disbelief. "They could destroy him," one of his officers said. "Why don't they?" Aaron answered quietly. "Because destruction teaches fear, control teaches memory." The warlord demanded a direct channel to Earth. Chen accepted. "You've crippled my domain," the warlord growled. "This is war." Chen met his gaze. "No, this is consequence." "You protect weakness," he spat again. Chen leaned forward slightly. "You misunderstand humans, we protect choices, and you chose poorly." She raised one hand. Another data stream appeared, testimonies from worlds the warlord had crushed, stations destroyed, families displaced, all recorded, all verified. "You are not being punished for attacking us," Chen said. "You are being stopped because you harm those who cannot fight back." The warlord's voice faltered. "If I surrender, you will erase me." "No," Chen replied. "If you surrender, you will live with what you've done." Silence followed. On the station, Keth felt something shift. This was no longer about him, or the human he saved. It was about the galaxy learning a new rule. The warlord's fleet began withdrawing ships from outer systems, pulling them closer in desperation. But the humans adjusted, always one step ahead, closing paths without ever touching him. Finally, the warlord broke. "I will stand down," he said, voice hollow. "Withdraw your forces." Chen shook her head. "Not yet." "What more do you want?" "Public acknowledgement," she said. "You will declare on all channels that this station and all under Earth's protection are not targets. You will accept oversight, and you will repay what you took." The warlord trembled with rage. Then, slowly, he nodded. The declaration echoed across the region. Cheers erupted on the station, but Keth did not join them. He leaned on the railing, feeling the weight lift, but also the cost. Later, Aaron found him alone. "You changed everything," Aaron said softly. "I didn't mean to," Keth replied. "Most important things start that way." Keth looked at the stars. "What happens now?" Aaron smiled faintly. "Now the galaxy adjusts." Human fleets did not leave. They remained not as conquerors but as watchers. Trade resumed. Smaller species began approaching Earth openly, seeking cooperation. Stories spread about a station master who helped a human and a species that answered kindness with strength. Keth returned to his duties, but nothing felt the same. One evening, a damaged alien freighter arrived unexpectedly, its crew injured, frightened. Keth did not hesitate. He ordered medical aid. As the crew was escorted inside, one of them whispered, "Aren't you afraid?" Keth shook his head. "No." "Why?" Keth looked toward the distant human ships, steady and silent. "Because someone once helped a stranger," he said. And the galaxy learned what that meant. Far away, Earth Command monitored the region. Phase 3 complete. No worlds burned, no cities fell, but power had shifted. And the galaxy would never forget the lesson humans had taught without firing a single shot. Loyalty, once earned, was defended completely. The war ended without a final battle. That alone made it legendary. Across the region, ships powered down weapons and slowly returned to normal routes. Trade lanes reopened under human monitoring, and long silent stations lit their beacons again. The galaxy exhaled, unsure what to do with the quiet. Station Master Keth Varin stood on the command deck and watched the warlord's flagship drift backward, escorted by human vessels that kept a careful distance. Not as guards, not as captors, as witnesses. The warlord's final declaration echoed one last time through public channels, replayed across worlds and stations. "This station, and all under Earth's protection, are not to be harmed. Any violation will be treated as an act against Earth itself." The words carried shame. And truth. Keth closed his eyes when the message ended. He had never wanted this. He had never planned it, and yet the galaxy had changed because of one simple choice: helping someone who was dying. Envoy Mara Chen contacted him later that cycle. "Station Master," she said, "the warlord has surrendered all claims in this region. Oversight teams will ensure compliance." "I don't want rulers here," Keth said quietly. "This station was meant to be neutral." Chen nodded. "Neutrality is respected. Earth will not stay." Keth looked up sharply. "You're leaving?" "Yes," Chen said. "Protection does not mean occupation." True to her word, human fleets began withdrawing within days, not all at once, not dramatically. They left in careful phases, ensuring stability before each step. Some alien leaders were shocked. They're really leaving. They won without conquering anything. They didn't even take tribute. Old beliefs cracked. New ones formed. Before the final human ships departed, Aaron Hale returned to the station one last time. This time he wore a formal uniform, not a pilot's suit, not armor, just a simple badge of Earth. Keth met him in the central atrium. "You came back again," Keth said. Aaron smiled. "I promised we wouldn't forget." They walked together through the station. Crew members paused to stare. Some bowed slightly, others watched with awe. "You know," Keth said, "many now believe this station is powerful." Aaron shook his head. "No, they believe it's protected." "There's a difference." "Yes," Aaron said softly. "Power demands fear. Protection creates trust." They stopped near the old docking bay, the same one where Aaron's ship had nearly torn itself apart. "I never thanked you properly," Keth said. Aaron turned. "You already did." "No," Keth insisted. "I mean for what followed." Aaron's expression grew serious. "What followed was humanity being itself. You just reminded us why." Keth studied him. "What will Earth do now?" Aaron looked out toward the stars. "We'll do what we always do. Watch, remember, respond." He placed a small device in Keth's hand. "What is this?" Keth asked. "A direct channel," Aaron said. "Not an emergency beacon, not a weapon, just a line." Keth closed his fingers around it. "If I never use it," Aaron smiled, "that would mean the galaxy learned." The final human fleet departed shortly after. The stars felt emptier but not colder. Life slowly returned to something like normal. Traders came openly now. Smaller species docked without fear. Some even brought gifts, symbols of gratitude, respect, or quiet hope. Keth noticed a change in how others spoke to him. Not with fear, with trust. Months passed. The warlord's empire, stripped of cruelty and watched closely, began to reform. Stations rebuilt. Routes reopened. The warlord himself was rarely seen, forced to face the damage he had caused. Earth did not interfere further. They simply watched. One cycle, long after the last human ship had vanished beyond sensors, a damaged vessel limped toward the station. Its hull was scorched, engines failing. Keth was called to the dock. "Species unknown," an officer said. "They're requesting aid." Keth did not hesitate, opened the bay. The crew was small, frightened, and badly injured. They had fled pirates and barely escaped. Their leader trembled as medics approached. "You won't turn us away?" the alien asked. Keth shook his head. "No, but you don't know us." Keth smiled faintly. "Neither did I know the last one." As repairs began, whispers spread among the crew. "That station, isn't that the one? The one Earth protected?" "Yes." Fear faded from their eyes. Later that night, Keth stood alone at the viewport, watching stars drift past. The station was no longer forgotten, but it was still what it had always been. A place where someone could choose to help. A quiet alert flashed on the console beside him. No alarm, no warning. Just a message. Earth acknowledges continued compassion. Keth laughed softly. Far away on Earth, historians recorded the conflict as one of the shortest wars never officially declared. No battles, no casualties, no conquered worlds, just a line drawn and respected. The lesson spread slowly, then all at once. Helping a human did not bring destruction. It did not summon chaos. It summoned memory. And humanity, once remembered, never turned away. The station lights dimmed to night cycle. Ships slept in their bays. The galaxy moved on. But the truth remained, spoken quietly across space. If you ever help a human in need,